Daf Yomi Tractate Menachot, page 100b. The last two words of the previous Amud was Sof. The Gemara asks ultimately Sof in the end. Top of 100b. Ki mate laila. Ki mate laila deveshim shi ligdosh filipsol amarave bishikardo mesile. If a rite is performed during the night, preceding its appointed time is not considered a rite whose time has not yet arrived. When the night arrives, meaning the twilight of Shabbat Eve, the arrangement of loaves remaining on the table should be consecrated and subsequently disqualified by being left overnight. Rava says the Mishnah is referring to a case where the priest removed the showbread from the table before nightfall on Shabbat Eve in order to prevent its consecration, and arranged it again the following day. Marzutra Tema Ravashi Oma Afilu Tema Vishelo Kadam Silek Keban Desidro Shelo Kimitzvato Naase Kemin Shesidro Hakov. Marzutra, and some say Ravashi, said, even if you say the Mishnah is referring to a case where one did not remove the showbread before nightfall, the loaves are not consecrated by the table, since the priest arranged the showbread at a time that was not in accordance with the procedure dictated by its mitzvah. It is considered as though a monkey had arranged the showbread, and it is not consecrated by the table. Okay. New Mishnah. The Mishnah says, "Shtei lechem nechalos ein pachos mishnayim v'lo yoser al shlosha keitzad nechos min Yom Tov nechalos b'Yom Tov l'shnayim chal Yom Tov v'hiyos achar Shabbos nechalos l'shlosha." The two loaves that are brought on Shavuot are eaten by the priests no less than 2 days and no more than 3 days after they were baked. How so? They are generally baked on the eve of the festival of Shavuot, and they are eaten on the day of the festival, which is on the second day. If the festival occurs after Shabbat, on Sunday the loaves are baked on Friday, in which case they are eaten on the third day. Lechem haponim nechal ein paros mitish'a v'lo yoser al achad asar ketzad ne'epa be'erev Shabbos Nechal v'Shabbos l'tisha chal Yom Tov lios erev Shabbos nechal l'asoro. The showbread is eaten no less than 9 days and no more than 11 days after it is baked. How so? It is generally baked on Shabbat Eve and eaten on the following Shabbat, which is on the 9th day. If a festival occurs on Shabbat Eve, the showbread is baked on the eve of the festival on Thursday, in which case it was eaten on the 10th day. Shnei yamim toivim shel Rosh Hashanah nechal achad asar ve'eno doche lo es Shabbos ve'lo es Yom Tov. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel omer mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Hasagan doche es Yom Tov ve'eno doche es Yom Tzom. If the 2 festival days of Rosh Hashanah occur on Thursday and Friday, the showbread is baked on Wednesday, in which case it is eaten on the 11th day. And this is because the preparation of the 2 loaves and the showbread override neither Shabbat nor a festival. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel says, in the name of Rabbi Shimon, the son of the deputy high priest, their preparation overrides a festival but does not override the fasting of Yom Kippur. That's the Mishnah. After the Gemara, Amar Vidla devrei omer nedorim unidavos in krevin b'Yom Tov lo tema midoiraiso mechsicha zo v'rabonon hu digazru shelo yeshahe elo midoiraiso nami lo chazu. The Gemara says, Ravina said, according to the statement of the one who says vow offerings and voluntary offerings may not be sacrificed on a festival, do not say they are fit to be sacrificed on a festival day by Torah law, and it is the sages who decreed they may not be sacrificed. The sages might have issued such a decree so that one would not delay sacrificing his offerings until he ascends to Jerusalem for the festival. Rather, vow offerings and voluntary offerings are unfit to be sacrificed on the festival also by Torah law. Ravina explains this may be inferred from the Mishnah as the offering of the 2 loaves is an obligation of the day of Shavuot. It is therefore not possible to say that the sages decreed that they may not be prepared on the festival lest one delay bringing them, and yet the Mishnah teaches that baking and preparing the 2 loaves overrides neither Shabbat nor a festival. All the more so that vow offerings and voluntary offerings, which do not need to be sacrificed, especially on a festival, may not be sacrificed on a festival by Torah law. This completes the chapter of Shtei HaLechem. May we return to you, chapter Shtei HaLechem. And now we proceed on to the next chapter, called HaMenachos VeHaNesachim. Zog de Mishneh HaMenachos VeHaNesachim Shetimu Shenitmeu Ad Shelo Kadshu Bechli Yesh Lehem Pidyon Mishikadshu Bechli Ein Lehem Pidyon. With regard to the fine flour for meal offerings, or for the wine for libations that became ritually impure, as long as they have not yet been consecrated in a service vessel and assumed inherent sanctity, their redemption is possible. If they are redeemed, their sanctity will be transferred to the redemption money. Once they have been consecrated in a service vessel and have assumed inherent sanctity, their redemption is no longer possible, and they are burned like any other offerings that became ritually impure. With regard to consecrated birds, wood for the altar, frankincense, and service vessels, once they became ritually impure, they have no possibility of redemption, as redemption of items consecrated for the altar was stated only with regard to a consecrated animal that developed a blemish, not with regard to other consecrated items. Okay, that's the Mishnah, and now for the Talmud. According to the Mishnah, impure meal offerings and libations may be redeemed as long as they have not yet been placed in a service vessel. Shmuel says, even if they are ritually pure, they also may be redeemed. What is the reason for this? As long as they have not been consecrated in a service vessel, they possess sanctity that adheres only in their value, and items whose sanctity adheres only in their value may be redeemed. Vehein nitputnan hu adin de'af al gav de'lo nitmeu v'adi de'kabai misne sefa mishikadishu bechli ein lahem pidyon de'afilu nitmeu nami tananami reishesh nitmeu ad shelo kadshu bechli. The Gemara asks, but didn't we learn in the Mishnah, the meal offerings and libations that became ritually impure are redeemed? The Gemara answers, the same is true even if they had not become ritually impure. And the Tana mentions a case where they became ritually impure, since he wants to teach the latter clause, which states once they were consecrated in a service vessel and have assumed inherent sanctity, they have no possibility of redemption, meaning that even when they became ritually impure and are disqualified from use as an offering, they still have no possibility of redemption. Therefore, the Tana also taught the first clause that became ritually impure before they were consecrated in a service vessel. Shita, Kedusha Guftinu. With regard to the flour or oil that has been consecrated in a service vessel, the Gemara asks, isn't it obvious that they are not redeemed as they are consecrated with inherent sanctity? So why are you mentioning it? So it's it's necessary to mention it. It's so good. After God, the Kaddish, because there's a goo, Kinafon Baymum, Ibrikaninam, Kamash the Lav Kohai Tame, Kayakman, and the Gemara answers it was necessary to state that the items consecrated in a service vessel cannot be redeemed, as it may enter your mind to say, since a blemished animal is called impure, as the Gemara will explain shortly, this analogy could be reversed, and an impure animal could also have a status similar to that of a blemished animal. And just as in the case of a blemished animal, even though it is consecrated with inherent sanctity, when it develops a blemish, it is redeemed. So too, these impure items discussed in the Mishnah may also be redeemed despite their possessing inherent sanctity. Therefore, the Tana teaches us that it is not in this context that the merciful one called a blemished animal impure.